So Stephen and I had this conversation one day. All right, we're done. We're leaving Shelby. We're gonna go start this church. And so of course, he needs somebody to like be his right-hand man, because for all of the strengths that he has that are spiritual and hearing from God and getting a vision and casting that vision, he knew that he needed help in actually carrying out this vision. And he really felt like Chunks was the one for that.
So Amy and I were the first people that, Pastor and Holly had asked to be part of this new church start. Of course, we didn't know what that meant. But at the same time he was asking us, I'd actually been online looking at houses in Florida and been interviewing at a clinic, a physical therapy clinic in Florida. We were not only not understanding what a church plant was, but we were still struggling with wanting to be closer to home. I mean, I didn't know what it meant to be on staff with a church. I didn't understand how to start a church, how to plant a church. I didn't really even know if I wanted to be on a church staff.
And Stephen goes, we're gonna start this church one day, and I don't know why you would even pass up this opportunity to do this with us. And in my mind, I'm like, this is a big deal. I mean, you're asking them to go and start a church somewhere in America, I think is what we had said.
We talked about it a lot, and it was something that we really wrestled with, back and forth, what are we gonna do? And we knew he wanted to answer.
I honestly thought that if we were indecisive long enough that it might blow over and that this church thing never would happen. There was a night where he told me this later, that he had picked up the phone because he was so frustrated that I wouldn't give him an answer of whether or not I was gonna do this with him, that he actually had the phone in hand and was dialing my number to tell me that he was gonna make the decision for me.
It's kind of how he does everything. Like, fine, if you don't want to do it with me, I'm doing it anyway. Fine, forget it. I'll find somebody else to help me. I thought you were the one that God had for us, but whatever, forget it. And I remember having lots of conversations telling him, you just gotta give him some time. I mean, babe, this is a big decision. Just hang on, they're gonna commit. And part of it was because I loved Chunks and Amy so much, and I wanted them to do it so much. I was just like, with all that I could, I was holding him back, just saying, just wait. They're gonna do it. Just give him some time. This is a big decision.
Finally, he gave me the ultimatum, and he was kind of like, I really need to know. I gotta know by noon tomorrow if you're doing this or not. If I don't get an answer, then you're not. He was that passionate about what he was gonna do, and he was also that passionate about moving on and not letting the first person that he's asked hold him back. And so we, after a lot of thought and prayer, Amy and I remember us having the conversation, and I said, well, if we don't do this, we're always gonna wonder if we missed out on God's best for our life. And so I called him at 11:59 the next day and told him that we were in.
Once Chunks and Amy committed and said, yes, we're gonna go, we're gonna start mega church in Anywhere America, the people that were closest to us in our lives at that time started saying, we want to be a part too.
Of course, Larry Bry was willing to sign on the dotted line the minute he was asked.
So when I heard that Pastor Stephen was going to go do this thing, start a church, I literally went and said, I'm coming with. And then I had to go home and tell my wife.
The Phillips, they were, of course, had moved to Shelby because they were friends with Pastor, and they were ready to go wherever.
Wherever it was. Charlotte or Jacksonville or Indiana, Canada, Quebec,
We just wanted
England, anything would have been better than Shelby, North Carolina.
I remember when Tyler and Amy, the Fords, signed on.
We spent, I shouldn't say we spent a day thinking about it. We spent maybe an hour thinking about it.
John and Heather, the Bishops.
It was intense.
I remember when the Harpers signed on.
It was not, what do you think about it? No, we're going.
One of the last couples to sign on were the Rabins, and we weren't actually sure if they were actually going to do it.
I'm in my hometown, where I grew up. I've got a great job, great family, great house. I've got a dad who's incredibly sick, about to die.
It just blew my mind that they were all like, I don't care where you guys are going, we want to be a part of this.
Here I am with a decision to, everything in the world is saying to stay, but in my heart, God's really calling us to go.